In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the most expensive games for Nintendo Switch of 2023, according to CEX Online. So to start us off, at the fourth most expensive game listed at £110 is Yomawari, The Long Night Collection. Now, the only reason why I found out about this game was because there's actually another release for Nintendo Switch, a different title called Yomawari Lost in the Dark. Now, I got hold of that game because I played a free demo and found out what an excellent survival horror, really dark, really different, edgy and unique, and looked kind of cutesy in a way. It just made me curious. So playing that free demo made me instantly go out and buy that game, Lost in the Dark. And then I found out about the Long Night Collection, which is a series of 2 games. And I just thought, I'm going to have to get those as well, because I will definitely not be disappointed from my experience of playing the other Yomawari title. Now, to start us off with, the first thing we'll look at to see if the game is worth it is, can you buy it on the eShop? And yes, you can. But it's actually $35.99. And compared to the other price of the eShop, digital downloads for the other games, that's actually fairly pricey. So if you're a big fan of this game and of the franchise, but bearing in mind this is the 4th most expensive game, you might want to, I know it's over double price, but you might want to generally consider it. Out of the 4 games in this list, this is probably one you're going to think, if you do like the game and you've played it from a friend or you've played a demo, it's probably worth saving up for and getting physical, especially if you are a Nintendo Switch physical collector. The footage of this game is just the intro. I'm going to show you the first couple of minutes intro from both of the games which are on there, as I didn't want to give anything away, any spoilers, or ruin anything of the experience for you guys at home if you are yet to play them. But I'm sure the first thing you've noticed is it's very atmospheric, it's very dark, very deep. And even though it looks kind of cartoony and cutesy, it's fully immersive. And my God, does it get deep and dark straight from the off, where your dog gets run over. You're either looking for your lost dog that's trapped, or something more sinister has happened. The visuals for me on this game are absolutely stunning. The colours, the depth, everything about it, it feels ultra enhanced. I feel like I'm on something while I'm playing this game. It really is a thing of beauty. The artwork in this game, graphically for Nintendo Switch, is second to none. The game's premise, based off this footage and playing a couple of minutes, is that it's a real survival horror mystery. It takes you on a story-driven path, and there's obviously lots to find out. There's lots to be left to be explored. And I just really think you need to go out and get this game, because it really is a true gem. Is it eerie? Yes. Will it leave a lot to the imagination? Probably. Will it scare you a little bit? Well, you might feel a little bit uncomfortable at times, perhaps. But it's definitely worth the ride. It's not the most scariest or horrific or graphical games in that sense, but you can tell this is a real exciting game for fans of that genre. And it's just one of those games you want to sink your teeth into, put the hours in, turn the light off, and just get fully lost within the game. So the big question now we've seen the game is the game worth it? Well, if you're a fan of the series, definitely yes. And even if you're not, like myself, and you've just got acquainted and familiar to the series and you love it, then it's still worth it, because there's 2 games on there. So yes, it's a thumbs up for me. For £110, the Long Night Collection gets a yes for Marathon Gaming. It is worth it. Now, before we get stuck in at the 3rd most expensive game for Nintendo Switch, if you are enjoying this video so far, please stick around for the rest of the list. And if I can just take this time to ask you guys to please hit that subscribe button. Only if you want more and you're enjoying the content, of course. Now, before we move on, let's enjoy this last dark scene. Well, I guess we were expecting that. Now, the third most expensive game for Nintendo Switch, according to CEX Online, is Snake Pass. Now, you can see there it says £110. Now, to just show accurately how these prices fluctuate, when I wrote down the prices, this game was £120, and I have got a previous screenshot of it. So it's actually decreased during the Christmas period by £10. So by the time this video goes out, there's a good chance the price might have changed. It might have gone back up another £10, depending on supply and demand, of course. Now, this game, when I first saw it, I wanted it, I missed out, and I had to pay more than the original release price. This is a super rare title, and the rest of the games on this list are super rare titles. You may be familiar with the term limited run, and there is a limited run games based in America. And all of those games are basically indie titles, and once they get a bit of momentum and crowd following, they release a limited number of copies. And Super Rare Game is no different to that. It's the same, but it's a British company, meaning you can actually trade these games in to CEX. And I'm pretty sure at making this video, you couldn't do that with any of the games from limitedrun.com. Now, these games generally retail for like £35, I believe. By the time you do the taxes and shipping, it ends up being 40 to 45 quid. So no different to any sort of A-list title that gets released on the Nintendo Switch. So this game, I definitely paid more than that because I did want it. I got it some time ago. You've probably seen it on a previous pickup video. I think at the time, it was definitely under £100. But yeah, I think it was 70, 80. It might have been even as high as £90, but it's definitely not as high as it is now. And I'm pretty sure I got it slightly cheaper for eBay, but I have to go back to watch that video because I, top of my head, cannot remember. But I wanted this game because I saw a bit of footage of it, or I played it around with friends. I definitely didn't have it digitally. But I did want to check this game out, and I checked it out, I did, and I just thought this looked absolutely charming. So you'd think from the cover it's like a cheap mobile game, like why is this, fetched for so much money? Is it because it's a real quirky, strange title? But no, it is a proper puzzle action platformer, and you can tell you control the snake, so it's got a lot of mechanics within the game which are very unique. So you've got to use your snake body to climb and traverse through the landscape, over all the terrain to get to the goal, get all these collectibles to progress the next game. And there's lots of replayability here, lots of things to 100% complete. But I liked the game, got hold of it, played it for half an hour or so, then realised I just don't have the brain capacity to want to learn and master the game. But if you are into puzzle games and platform games, it's definitely one for you. But those two genres in particular, especially when they're merged together, tend to have a short attention span with myself. So you control the snake's mechanics by slithering left or right with a cursor to move, and you lift your head up to gain a bit of speed. Now you lift your head up while wrapping your body to move further up, and when you start to really try and bridge across things, you need to tighten the rest of your snake body by lowering your chin back down, which I think with one of the ZR trigger buttons. Now it's a real hard mechanic to grasp. I definitely didn't feel like I didn't see the fun in it to want to master it. I wanted just to play some other games. But if you could master this, it would definitely reward the player. You'll probably find the game very relaxing, very rewarding. But my God, yes, to anyone who's casual like myself, it is a little bit challenging. At the time of this video, Snake Pass digitally is $15.99. So if you're thinking you're a bit on the fence, and like me, you might be regretting buying the title physically, then it's probably best to check it out digitally first, as it's a hell of a lot cheaper. For me, to summarise, I'll say no, this game isn't worth it, because for the price physically, I just think that is way overpriced, even if you are a big fan. And digitally, this game, well, how can you be a big fan? Guys, let me know in the comments, please, because obviously, I don't want to be hypocritical, because I said Yomawari is worth it, but this is a different kettle of fish. I don't feel like it values being the third most expensive game on the Nintendo Switch. And also, I just think the price digitally is too much. I feel like this game is a great game, of course, really good game, but if it was priced a tenner or under, so yeah, what I would suggest to do if you do want to try this game is add it to your wish list, and I'm sure at some point it will pop back up in the eShop sale. Snake Pass for Nintendo Switch at £110 or £120. The fourth most expensive game for Nintendo Switch. Is it worth it? Well, no, I don't think it is. Now we're moving into the top 3 most expensive games for the Nintendo Switch going into 2023, according to CEX. Now this next one is interesting, Worms WMD. And the reason why it's interesting is this game just under a week ago, maybe 3 days ago, was actually the second most expensive. It was £160, believe it or not. And then when I was making notes and making this video, and then when I did the final editing today, I noticed it actually had decreased from £160 on CEX down to £125. So it just goes to show you how much changing can be done. But the game instantly sold out. There's no more copies at the time right now. When you look up the game, it might come in stock by the time you look at the video. And by then also, because of supply and demand, the price may increase again. But that will have to remain to be seen. This Worms title for me wasn't a game that I necessarily ever thought I would buy, because I've been playing Worms since the dawn of time, way back on the very old retro consoles. I'm talking Amiga, I'm talking playing it on Windows through DOS, I'm talking about early man gaming, and I've still got my dual case for the PlayStation 1, and all the Worms titles are fantastic. We played them through the ages, but I haven't noticed much changes or increased enhanced gameplay. There are some titles that are better than others. There's some odd spin-offs as well. But at the end of the day, Worms is Worms, and it's great fun. So I just thought, why would I pay for this particular version X amount of money on this particular title? I thought there is no way I'll be buying this game physically. Now, Worms currently on the eShop, it's fairly expensive for a Worms title for download. It's $19.99. Now, the reason why I ended up owning it physically is because during the Christmas period, about a week before Christmas in 2022, this game was saved on my wish list, and it actually came up as 80% off. So I picked the title up for no more than a £5 note. It was literally something like $4.99. I'm no mathematician, but it was 80% off, and I picked the game up. It came up very cheap, so I thought, you know what? Now is the time. I might as well try it out and see what all the fuss is about. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would you pay over £100 for a physical copy of a Worms game when you could play one of the many other Worms games? Now, I went through this thought process myself. Now, I understand why they bring out different Worms games. They increase not just the graphics or the gameplay or the content, but you get more items and more weapons to use. We've had introduced over the years the Holy Bomb, the Banana Bomb, the Sheep Bomb, and all of these things might warrant bringing out a new game and purchasing that newer game and bringing out a different price tag for each game. Now, we have, of course, all heard and played of Worms Armageddon. That is a lot of the time respected as the greatest Worms game within the franchise. But for me, when I went to play this game, WMD, digitally, the reason why I was so blown away is normally it's all about the multiplayer. Now, this added a lot more depth for the one player. There's a lot of campaign, a lot more missions. Obviously, you've got all the weapons and much more from before, and you've got this lovely polished graphics of the actual game. It just seems like this could be the greatest Worms games in the franchise. So if you are a big fan of Worms games and you haven't played every single one, then perhaps this is the ultimate Worms games to play. So of course you can debate it all day long, is this game worth it? But for me, I'm just going to say, do you know what? Yes, it is. What do you guys think? Now, moving on to the second most expensive game for Nintendo Switch on 2023, according to CEX. I must confess, I do not actually own a physical copy of this game. And I'm going to tell you exactly why I don't own a physical copy of this game. However, I do own a digital copy of the game. I actually picked it up for the purpose of this video, just so I can accurately go through the top 5 games for Nintendo Switch, value-wise, because all those 5 games are the only games which are over £100. And I must also take this time to say that you might have a look on CEX yourself, and you'll see some other games I haven't included, and that is because they are special edition packs or limited edition packs that come with statues or books. So I'm just purely looking at single games that don't come with any extra stuff thrown in, because then it just gets into a whole confusion mess. because sometimes you end up paying for a game, but you're actually not. You're paying for a 300 quid statue that comes with it. Now, the game we're taking a look at now is Binary Stars. Now, this game is a super rare game, and it is £135 according to CEX. Now, that is in 2023 of January, and now when I did the research for this video back around the Christmas period in 2022, on my notes this game was actually £150. So again, it has decreased £15 in a matter of a week or two. And as you can see, Steradon Binary Stars on the eShop, it wasn't on sale, but it was at $11.99. So if you are interested, add it to your wish list, and it may come up in the eShop sale at some point. But for the purpose of the video, I thought I'll splash out the $11.99 so we can do a fully conclusive top 5 most expensive games. Now, this is a very, very good game, don't get me wrong, but the reason why I didn't consider ever wanting to own a physical copy of it, and it's the reason why I currently do not own a physical copy of it, is because I'm not a big fan of the shoot-'em-ups, vertical or horizontal. They're not my favourite classic games on the arcade, and generally the shoot-'em-up, shmup franchises are very, very popular with arcade players, classic arcade players, and proper hardcore gamers. So this game, I can completely understand why it warrants that price tag. Just don't get me wrong, from the small amount of time I allocated to it while testing it out for the purpose of this video, it is very, very fun. So if you are into shoot-'em-ups, I'm sure this is a no-brainer, must-have. But for me, vertical and horizontal shooters, other than some classics like Galaxian, it might not be a game that I necessarily want to add in, but I know there's such many games out there, such as R-Type, and it's such a strong franchise, so I completely understand. And you can hit me hard in the comments and say, why have you bought Snake Pass, but you haven't bought this game? And you know what? I agree with you. And while you're in the comments, let me know, am I pronouncing it wrong? Is it Steradon Binary Stars, Binary Stars, Binary? I don't know. Anyway, we'll move on. So yes, it's a great game. What do we know? Well, you can update different things, get different abilities. You can upgrade your shit, your weapons, your guns. It's a really good game. It's a really solid game. But for me, I'm just going to have to say, is it worth that price tag? If it creeps down 20 quid, then maybe yes, close towards £100. But when it fluctuates between £130 to £150, because it's not my type of game, I'm going to just say no. Now, I might play this some more, and in 6 months' time, you might ask me again or see my Nintendo Switch collection and see that I've actually now got a physical copy. And that will be because sometimes, you know, I'm a fickle guy. I might play the game digitally, get quite far in it and fall in love with it. Next thing you know, I'm playing shoot 'em ups. So, yeah, it just purely depends. But at the moment, these aren't my sort of games that I play. And as you can see here, a perfect example of some upgrades. So if you are into this type of game, it's not just a standard sort of run and gun and dodging what's coming at you. There's lots of different enemies, different ships, you've got different firepower. So it is a really good, solid game. There's a nice story mode on here, and I think you can even upgrade different ships as well. So it is a solid game, and I can see exactly why people would spend this sort of money on this game, especially if shoot-'em-ups are your thing. God love the shmups, eh? Now, all jokes aside and taking things seriously, before we move on to our number one, we've gone through second, third, fourth, and the fifth most expensive games on the Switch. Now, really, you've got to be absolutely bonkers. There's only two reasons why you would consider paying even over £60 for a Nintendo Switch game. One is if you're a mad physical collector and you love collecting video games and you love collecting for your Switch, then of course you're going to want to try and get hold of as many great titles as you can. The only other reason would be purely if you are a huge fan of that particular game, so you want to own it physically, and of course that's the whole point of super rare games. So of course I remind all you guys that other than your Mawari, the Long Night Collection, the first, second, third and fourth game are all super rare games. So the premise of that probably does conclude that, yeah, it's for the proper collectors who really want to own that physical game, because you've got to be really mad to be paying £100 or more for any of these titles. Now, before we jump in the hot seat and go through number one most expensive game for Nintendo Switch, according to CEX in 2023, if you have enjoyed this video and you enjoy your Switch, I recommend you check out my previous video where I go through the best games for the Switch of 2022, and that does feature some special guest friends from YouTube. Now this next game at top number 1 is Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time. Now I knew absolutely nothing about this game. Even looking at the picture art on the box, I had no idea what it was about. Not even a clue. But this game has sat as number 1 for such a long time on CEX's website as the most expensive game. It is £190 and it seems to have always been well over £100 or £150 for as long as I can remember ever looking. And do you know what? No smoke, no fire, or something like that they say. I'm just going to say it now. I'm not even going to leave you waiting to the end. Yes, this game is bloody well worth it. Once I checked the footage out of this game, I thought, you know what, that looks really cool. Maybe it's one of the early super rare titles, which is why it's so desirable. But I thought, you know what, I'm just going to save up and check it out. And I picked it up for a lot cheaper online than it actually does go for. And I've had it for only a short while now. But I tell you what, as soon as I played it, I was like, oh my God, I can see this is absolutely amazing. You're basically controlling a ship. You have got a little companion you can have with you. You've got different things on this ship. So you've got 4 guns. You've got a shield going around. You've got a... you've also got like the engine to control. You've got a map station. And you've got like a little missile special cannon that goes around the outside. Now the catch is you can only control one of these things at the same time. So you use your companion and you basically send him to each of these chambers. So you and him, you send him little commands. A bit like those other multiplayer games like Overcooked. You sort of dish out the tasks and work together to get the best out of the game. Now you have to explore different planets, different galaxies. You get attacked by all sorts of different types of aliens, whether they're ships and saucers in the sky or little aliens and spiders crawling around on different planets. You're trying to free these bunnies. These bunnies will come to your ship. They'll get you health, because if you crash your ship into the side, you'll lose this health, and that will help you open a gate as well by getting so many bunnies to go to the next world. Now you're probably wondering, why are you talking so fast? It's because I'm bloody well excited. I knew how good it was and I was like, hold on a minute, multiplayer, this would be insane. Now I had one of my good friends over playing it just the other day, and it is, my God, one of the best multiplayer games I've ever played. We had so much fun arguing and trying to work together. It is absolutely awesome. The sound in this game, the contrast, the colour, it is absolutely genius and it's so unique. And we was like, do you know what? We need a 3rd player. And we looked into it. You could play it 4 players. So you could actually have 4 different players playing this game, all couch co-op. And I just thought that is absolutely unbelievable. Might just be my favourite game of all time for the Switch. I'm so glad and happy I stumbled across it. So I'm just going to say yes, double yes. No matter how much this game costs, you need to get hold of it. I can't see the price ever falling on this. I generally feel that, obviously, I don't want to set anyone up here to fail or say the wrong thing, but I can only see this title going up. I really do believe this will be a game we'll look at in the future in 10 years' time, and you'll go, do you know what? Bloody hell, that was expensive, but I wish I paid over 100 quid or 150 quid, whatever the going rate is when you stumble across it. So I can really see this game just going to the stars and back. No pun intended. Now, if you're not sure, you don't believe me, just do what I did. Check it out on the eShop. It's only like $11.99, and at the time release of this video, it's currently actually on sale at the eShops. You can pick it up for a bargain, like £6 or under, and it really is a top game. So honestly, guys, don't just take my word for it. Go and check it out for yourself. It's definitely worth a punt for a tenner. This game is worth up to 20 quid digitally all day, and if it was a proper Nintendo, not a indie title, this game would sit £50-55 and the price would never come down. It's that solid. So I completely understand, as a super rare game, as a collectible, the unique game that it is, I can see why this game will always remain over £100, and who knows exactly where it will go. You can upgrade each weapon, you can upgrade things to your ship, you can get better ships. It's endless fun, it really is. But anyway, guys, that's the top 5 most expensive Switch games of 2023, according to CEX. I really hope you enjoyed this video, because I definitely enjoyed making it. I'll see you guys soon for another video. I'm Scotty at Marathon Gaming. Take care. I'm Mario. And I am the Hedgehog. And today, with this...